And we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another show. It's been a while, but we are back. I got my good friend once again. He's been on here before, and that is Addy. Quick little bio of who he is. He is a former CMO of CoinTelegraph and current CEO of BlockShow, run by CoinTelegraph. Addy, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ameer, and it's a pleasure to be here once again.
You are one busy person. You know, you're in India now, and you were in China not too long ago, hence why we're having this video call. During your time in China, obviously the Chinese news came out with bans on ICOs, and you had the opportunity to speak with many individuals in the crypto/blockchain space currently in China. So my question to you, since the title of this webinar, whatever you want to call it, is China ICO ban. What did you learn when you were over there? What was the consensus? What was happening during this time?
Okay, so regarding all this China ICO ban, right? So when it just arrived to China, it was like, I guess, one day after the actual ban. That was Beijing, So Beijing is the capital, so it's the political capital, and everything is happening there, right? So and the first thing that happened, all of the conferences were delayed, and they were canceled. So I actually came to visit one conference, but it was moved to Hong Kong. So everyone was scared, and that was the first thing. So even private meetups that were held in China at that moment, they were really private. So it was not like, I don't know, they were not privately promoted. They were all sent only via, I don't know, even not via WeChat, but via Telegram. So, it was really crazy stories. I was looking for the first meetup. It was like around 30 or 40 minutes, I guess, because it was really like far in Beijing. So that was my first emotions. And I even was like, I don't know, firstly I was thinking of even, what will they do if they know that I have Bitcoins or something? So that were crazy times, and everybody was scared. But at the very beginning, everyone thought that it's just like ICO ban, right? So everyone thought that they are doing that in order to remove fraud. How China is cautious about its citizens and investors and how they do politics. So everyone thought that they're just removing fraud. But when they actually stopped some trading, I talked to I was in Shanghai at that moment, it was Shanghai, and I was like I was meeting with some guys, and one of these guys was Bobby Lee, and I saw his face because before he actually announced that BTCC is stopping trading in China. So it was pretty strange, So no one really understood that it was so serious, right? Because stopping trading is really, really serious. I visited different offices, for example, Huobi, Bixin, right? So this is one of the biggest mining pools. And all of the Chinese founders and businessmen at that moment, they were really worried about, and actually the community was pretty positive. The founders themselves were negative because they understand how it can be, right? And I won't be surprised if, for example, I don't know, in a couple of weeks or something, even Bitcoin or crypto will be banned. But there is one thing here. After around a few weeks, I guess, after I came to China, and ICO were banned. Also, exchanges were banned, right? So they couldn't exchange do their operations in China. People understood that. What I understood is that maybe is happening year by year. So what is crazy about Chinese government is that before their main summit, I mean the summit of the party, right? So they have their own annual party summit, communist one. Before each one, all of the stuff that is not under their control, they just ban, only ban. So maybe after their summit, it will be like in the middle of October, so in around 1-2 weeks, everything will change, and they will just like come with some regulation on that. So yeah, that were my first emotions, and that's actually what was happening when I came to China at the very beginning.
And it's been 2 weeks since that, or a couple of weeks since that. Has anything changed? Has anything changed within these couple of weeks?
Actually, no, nothing changed. So it's becoming more serious, even more serious. Everyone understands that it's a real ban, and that right now you really can't do, for example, ICOs or something like that in China, right? So I talked to many projects there that were raising funds just in China. I won't tell the names of the projects, but for example, one of them raised 50 million. They didn't know at all before this ICO ban that like they even can go to international market. So they were targeting only Chinese one. And when we met, the first questions that I was asked is like, Addy, do you know any international crypto exchanges where we can list our tokens? Or where can we put up the limits, right? So how we can find investors. So now they are targeting international markets. So that's what changed actually since these 2 weeks, right? So all of them are wholly, they sent their money back. It's really so. It's not a joke. It's not, I don't know, media buzz or something. They really sent all of their money back. All of this millions of money went back. And Chinese investors now, they really have lots of that money. And they are focusing right now on the international market. So what we see is that Chinese projects, they are now focusing on the international market. And some of them, they create 2 projects out of 1. So one of these projects is like a foundation somewhere in Singapore, focusing international investors. And another company is a Chinese company that is working very closely with the government and the regulators in order to create a project for Chinese audience. So that's what, I can't say changed, just like the process that has begun, right? So the Asian market and the Chinese, the biggest market, is now wholly open to the global, and Chinese investors are targeting international projects, and Chinese projects are targeting international investors. So that's the process that has begun. And yeah, that's why right now we will see a lot of agencies opening that are doing some business for, I mean, consultancy and so on for Chinese investors and projects. That's what we will see. And that's really cool because, you know, the initial idea of the blockchain is no borders. So I guess that thanks to Chinese government, now they did that, and they opened the borders for such a big amount of really great projects. You know, these projects that are in China, they are enormous. They are magnificent. They are far away from what we see, for example, in Europe or even in US. They are already doing such things like blockchain and artificial intelligence, right? So even this subject, if we discuss, it can be like one to 2 hours. But they already raised money for that and already like built the project, a real product. So the projects that we will now see, so they are absolutely great. And so yeah, that's what changed. And I assume that like in 2 or 3 months, new money will be coming to all of this ICO bubble, as you usually say in your Facebook and YouTube. So that's what is happening right now. They are just preparing for that now. So for example, at our conference, we will also have this stuff. So yeah, something like that.
Do you think this will actually affect any cryptos in China? Bitcoin, Ethereum. Do you think this will actually affect, like, for example, the new legislation or the laws put down by the Chinese government? Do you think this will affect the other decentralized cryptos as opposed to just ICOs?
You mean, will this ICO ban affect, or the fact that they?
Yeah.
So the
like,
question.
Do you see the Chinese government putting more bans on their exchanges in China?
I think that it will be the following. That's what I discussed actually in China. They will take like 2 or 3 exchanges now, like I guess the biggest one, will wholly show on their example how you need to be regulated. So I guess it will be like 2-3 biggest exchanges, maybe. Yeah, but I don't know. All of us know what are the 3 biggest Chinese exchanges. So they will take them and wholly show on their example how to regulate what are the limits and so on and so forth. Because when I visited some of their offices, I mean, on the exchanges in China, all of them shared with me the info that they were already before this dance were working really closely with the government, and now it will be totally different. So they will have very strict limits. They won't be able to trade like the amounts that they're doing now. And what I also predict is that you won't be able to withdraw BTC directly to yuan, for example. It will be impossible. So what they are planning to do, I think so, is creating their own cryptocurrency, which you can use only and exchange to yuan. So in order to do any crypto stuff, you need to have like BTC yuan, or I don't know, BT yuan, call it whatever you want. And they will begin for sure with the exchanges. So ICOs, it's one thing. They just blocked it because it's hundreds of millions of dollars going out of China. But they don't need it, right? What they need is keep everything inside like they want, like they used to. So of course, right now they will firstly block the biggest exchanges, create their own crypto, and start practicing that. So start looking how it works. But what I know really, yeah.
Do you think they're going to be creating like economic zone, like Macau or Guangzhou for blockchain?
I don't think it's actually necessary. They already have Hong Kong where actually everything is happening. All of the conferences that were declined, they went to Hong Kong, most of them. So they already have a hub, right, which they can use, and through which they can actually send money outside. So I guess it's Hong Kong. But even they don't need that hub. You know, if they create their own crypto, it's done. They don't need any hub. It's totally
how do you think the price would be affected? Do you think that would actually affect the global price and supply of everything?
That's an interesting thing, because when I was in China and talking to all of the guys, and after the first, actually, I was in Kuala Lumpur at that moment. It was one day before I entered Beijing, and crypto exchanges were banned. I guess it was like that, yeah. And the guy from, I don't remember from which program, from Waves, I guess, came to me and said, okay, that's a disaster, right? And I also thought, okay, yeah, that's really a disaster. What will be the price now? God, I have all of my savings in Bitcoin. What is happening? Yeah, it's really so my money are in BTC, most of them. And when I looked at the price, I thought that it would be like 1,000-2,000, but it felt like, I don't know, 300 or 400. So I looked at the price like in the 3 hours, and you know, at that moment I understood that it won't be affected at all. And that was a surprise for all of the Chinese founders and exchanges as well. You know, the price is now stabilized. It's at the same level as before. That was a surprise for, I guess, so governments too, because before any single event can influence the price. Now it's totally different. The interest is so big that nothing will change. And even with more regulations coming, I mean structured and logical ones, the price will be going up, because, you know, the more regulations come, the more rules come. I mean, in terms of investments into the scheme and into the industry, the bigger investors are like looping in, because they see the rules, they see that they won't be.
But don't you think, like, for example, let's say I'm an exchange or I'm a miner, one of these big mining pools in China, and I can't switch my BTC to, let's say, the renminbi. That's just going to increase OTC. I'm just going to go to OTC broker and be like, hey, give me American greenback for my Bitcoin.
It's okay, and it's totally okay. So how do you think why it will so hugely influence the price?
Yeah. No, my whole point with the regulation doesn't even matter, because me as an OTC, me as a miner, I'll just go to OTC broker. So actually, this is actually good for OTC brokers.
For them, for sure. I I mean, for them, it's like a new huge amount of commission coming.
Yeah.
But for you know, actually the regulation, I continued telling that like during the last 1 month and at all of the meetups we have, regulation, it's cool. Like I mean, I know many people say like I'm a totalitarian guy, but but you know, no institutional investors will come until they see that the scene and the industry is regulated. They won't come. They won't invest in any industry where they don't see the rules. So if we want the market cap to go to trillions, we definitely need Chinese government, Japanese government, Russian, US, any of them to regulate and to say what's the process look like.
I think we'll see this. We're gonna have two different worlds. We're gonna have a regulated crypto world and a deregulated crypto world, and it's all on laissez-faire capitalism. If you want to use a regulated system, by all means, use a regulated system. But if you want to use a decentralized, unregulated, no KYC, no AML, true form of free expression of speech, me doing business with you, then you have the option. So it's not, most people say either or, has to be regulated. I'm like, no, there's room for everybody.
That's a good point. But what I would like to add to this is it's not like two different worlds. I guess anyway, the world that you mentioned, the second one, I mean, which is decentralized, it's inside the regulation one. Oh, because if you actually want to come to the real world with all of your BTC or tokens and some, you need to pass the KYC procedure or whatever, right? So I totally agree with you, but with only one addition, that I guess it's not two parallel worlds. It's a world inside another. You know?
Until Bitcoin becomes so mainstream that I don't have to switch it for cash.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's what will happen as well. But I don't know when. And that's a good point, because I'm discussing this stuff. So when we won't need cash or electronic money or something, and no one knows. Only McAfee maybe knows, or you know, because I always follow his Twitter where he says such crazy things like, I know Bitcoin will be 50,000 or got my penis. So we should ask him, I guess.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. We got to get him on the show for sure.
Oh yeah. I guess he's pretty reachable, so it won't be a problem.
Why don't you get him for BlockShow at the conference?
Actually, yeah, we can try. The only thing is that for BlockShow we are looking for more like blockchain solutions founders and so on. But McAfee is more like an investor, I guess, now, or something. But we're more looking for founders, like for example Q2, Neo, Metaverse, EOS, or something like that. You know, people that can actually present their solutions for now. Yeah.
So where do you see? Do you think? Do you have any insider information or your own personal opinion of with the United States, like based on what China is saying? Do you think United States is going to follow, or they're just going to do their own thing?
Actually,
because the SEC just made a public statement about going after ICOs, and they just went after a couple of them last week.
You mean they ban it? You mean they are banning one after another, or
you're going after fraudulent ones, scammy ones? Yeah.
Okay. No, but you know, Korea did the same. So it's like, of course, ICO. So if we discuss ICO particularly, of course, everyone will ban ICOs in a way they are done now, right? So all of the countries like US or China, and I guess Russia will do the same, because it's crazy, you know. It's I guess everyone has already said so much about that, and we don't need to go into detail, because absolutely, my opinion is that it will be the way it is done now must be banned everywhere, and it will be regulated. So for sure, US will follow China, or China will follow US. Korea will follow China. You know, so it's done right now. And for example, you've heard about all of this closes of the bank accounts of different projects. I mean, in Singapore, in Malaysia, and everywhere in China. So that's one of the ICO ecos, you know. So until they are unregulated, it will happen. And so to crown it all, ICO already attracted a lot of interest. Bitcoin price is up, and dollar tokens are up, and so on and so forth. But now it should be regulated, because in other way, the negative effect will be rising and rising. So,
but how do you think like how would the regulation work? Like, let's say, like, how would that model work? Like, if I'm a Canadian investor and I want to invest in an ICO, and like an IPO, you have a lottery. You can't just buy as much as you want. You're limited on the shares you can buy. What's the KYC and AML system for that then, for a regulated ICO? Like, how would that actually play out?
That's actually a very good question, and the question that is not answered. So it's like, actually in China as well. I'm speaking so much about China because I spent a lot of time
because
there.
Also, like, let me put it this way: if it is regulated, then please explain. Because I'm an angel investor, please explain to me then how the fuck the taxes are going to work. Yeah,
true. So the problem here is that, the problem is that investors are coming from all over the world, right? So what lawyers are thinking about now in each country is how they can pass all of these procedures that you mentioned. Personally, I don't know for now. So when I talk to lawyers, they also don't know. When I talk to government representatives, they also don't know. What they only know for now is that we should do that. We should ban this, and that. But they don't have any procedures for how actually to build the regulation. So if you want to hear,
I'm telling you, we're going to see pushback. I think the more they regulate, the more people will switch to more privacy currencies such as Monero, Zcash. More people will use decentralized exchanges to raise money. Same thing like drugs. You make drugs illegal, well, guess what? Massive black market. Anybody, you don't even have connections. Anybody can go buy drugs anywhere. So the more you make things regulated or illegal, or you tell a human being they can't do it, the more they will literally push back out of sheer spite to make sure they can do that themselves.
Totally agree. And in order not to have like this stupid regulation, right? Stupid bans and make it like totally illegal, you need to build consensus between the government and regulators and the community. So you need to talk, because what I hear now is that everyone is just totally against that, saying that, okay, we are getting back to all of this totalitarian stuff, everything will be regulated, there will be the black market and so on. But speak to the governments, tell them how they should do that, and just, I don't know, prove them that it should be done like that. So, and actually at BlockShow, sorry for speaking, but that's a relevant topic. We are connecting governments, so we will have a government panel which will be discussing the actual regulation of crypto and ICOs and all of that stuff there, and answering the Q&A from the audience. So that's how we think we can try to build some consensus and try to find some answers, right? So that's what we will try to do. And answering your question, we think that, yeah, only by building this dialogue between the community and the government, we can find and we can build the structured and logical regulation, right? In order to avoid all this black market and so on and so on.
But the funniest thing, the biggest black market is American greenback. So let me ask you this. You've been traveling a lot the whole year. You went to China and India right now. We've been talking about ICO bans. We've been talking about regulation versus deregulation. Do you have any predictions on where we're going to be in the ecosystem within the next 6 months?
In the next 6 months. That's good that you asked about 6 months, but not 2 or 3 years like usually people ask for. Because for 2 or 3 years, I don't know, it's crazy to predict. But in 6 months, so in 6 months, so it's what's the month it will be?
I don't know. November, December, January, February, March, April.
Oh, April already. Okay, so let's predict closer. So I guess up to the end of this year, the price, firstly, the price will go significantly up, maybe up to $10,000, because
For
I believe
Bitcoin.
that, yeah, because I believe that after the Party Summit, everything will be okay.
Yeah.
No major announcements will be made, so everything will be the same. Secondly, a lot of projects are announcing their not only ICOs, but the fact that they are just announcing their great projects in absolutely different industries, and that will be a new amount of money coming into the industry. And thirdly, historically, what I knew from Bitcoin, except 2014, it was going up like by the end of the year, as I remember. So as for the crypto, yeah, I guess it will significantly go up because of the positive news around that. But I can predict what will be at the beginning of 2017, maybe by Q2 or something like that. We will see some big crashes and fails of the projects that raised money now, because I'm talking a lot to them, and many of them don't have any team that is building the product, any business planning. I guess you've discussed all that already a lot during your show, so no need to elaborate on that. So at the beginning of 2017, a lot of fails will fall. That's what I see for now. And regulations. It's coming and coming and coming. I can't make like predictions on, I don't know, some big stuff will happen. Yeah, we'll see a lot of new solutions, really new products coming in absolutely different industries, very interesting ones, and that will grow. Regulation will come. It will attract institutional investors. If nothing urgent happens, actually, it will just develop. So it's like that.
So coming up soon, end of November, you guys are having a blockchain show in Singapore. Is that correct?
Absolutely right. And you're speaking there, Ameer.
Yeah, I keep on forgetting about that. I will be there. So tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. So thanks for giving me the chance to tell actually about BlockShow. So I will be very short. BlockShow is powered by CoinTelegraph, which is like, you know what CoinTelegraph is. And yeah, it's an event. It's a blockchain event focused on showcasing variety of blockchain solutions. And this November, 29-30, we are holding BlockShow Asia for 1,000 plus people, where we are connecting the Asian and global markets. So the stuff that we have just been discussing will be discussed by real experts like founders of Chinese projects, governments, investors, real groundbreakers that will present their vision and share their experience, knowledge, and so on with the audience. And of course, a lot of projects will showcase, start their ICOs, and so on and so forth. So that's a great community event. It's a show. It's a 2-day event in Singapore. So just imagine how cool that it will be. And it's a big event. I guess that in 2 or 3 years, like, that will be one of the main events for everyone to join. Because
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting, and I was able, for anybody listening out there, for the BlockGeeks family and for my YouTube channel, Ameer Rosic, I was able to get an amazing deal for everybody to come over and to participate in the community. So if you're looking to save more than 35%, just use the code BlockGeeks35. There's actually a link below this video. So it took me, I was pulling Addy's teeth out to get this, but I was able to get the code for everybody. Make sure you use that, and it'll be really good to see everybody in Singapore together.
Yeah, thanks, Ameer. And one important note: we are very focused on startups. I mean, the blockchain startups, and the ticket for startups is just $189. So it's really cheap. Yep. And the price will go up on October 8th. So for everyone who wants to come to find clients, investors, and so on, join us and join Ameer, join me, and join all of the other people that are coming. Will be a cool show.
Awesome. Well, Addy, I just want to thank you so much. We'll wrap it up over there. If people want to find more information about you, best website to reach you at is?
About me or about BlockShow?
Say both.
As for me, you just Google, I mean, Addy Crazy on LinkedIn or on Google or somewhere. Addy Crazy Blockchain, Addy Crazy CoinTelegraph. And our website is blockshowasia.com or events.cointelegraph.com. So both websites work. And so Ameer, thank you so much for hosting me today. I hope it was valuable. I shared my insights on the Chinese stuff happening. Sorry for the lights because I'm in the room, and I hope it was cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you, brother. I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.